Brought to you by Penguin. Bitter Fruits by Alice Clark-Platts. Read by Roy Mcmillan, Stefan Booth, Tania Rodrigues, Kristin Atherton, and Rachel Bavidge.
Chapter 1. The body was found in the icy coffin of the weir. The cathedral loomed above, its shadows stretching flat across the dark waters which had played with her hair. It streamed out behind her body in the flaky current, turning this way and that. Damp tendrils stuck to her face, her eyes open, knowing. She wore a university T-shirt, purple and clinging. Tight jeans hugging her splayed legs in the lapping water, fingers teasing the weeds in which she had become entangled. A heron plopped its foot in the water. It turned its head slowly to one side, considering. Grey-bearded clouds bumped into each other above, sagely taking on board the crime scene below. All that could be heard, aside from the swishing of the universe, was the sucking of the air pocket beneath the small of her back. Fnuck, pause. Fnuck, pause. Fnuck, pause. Steady and meditative, the heron spread his wings and took flight. Monday, 22nd of May, 5 a.m. A fluorescent glare from Martin's phone stabbed into the darkness of the bedroom. Awake already, despite the untimely hour, she was quick to sit up and put it to her ear, murmuring softly to avoid waking the sleeping form next to her. The blue of a cold sunrise inched through the cracks in the curtains as she finished the call and swung her legs off the bed. She looked across the room to the mirror which hung above a chest of drawers, her reflection becoming clearer as more light entered the room. Her red hair was mussed, her mouth and eyes still drowsy with inaction. "What is it?" Jim asked, stirring to life beneath the covers. His hand touched her back for a moment before being withdrawn. Martin considered this retreat for a second before she answered. "Work," she said, twisting round to look at her husband, who had pushed himself up onto his elbows. "Could be something. I might not be home for a while." Jim gave a querying look. Martin touched his hand briefly and then stood, rolling her shoulders back, setting her chin. "A body's been found down by the weir," she said in the quiet, reaching for her clothes. Martin found her way to the crime scene 30 minutes later. Approaching the gate on the track leading to Prebins Bridge, the car headlights swept the thick line of trees bordering the slope down to the river bank. Darkness was lifting to reveal dank cobwebs of mist spun through the air. Martin parked her car next to the gate and jumped out, taking a pair of white rubber Wellingtons from the car boot and replacing her ballet pumps with them. She pulled on a plastic raincoat, shoving the arms of her parka bulkily through the polyester sleeves. She walked down past the gate and onto the bridge. From there, drifting over the water, she could see the lights of the response unit and the day-glow outline of the tent being used to house the body. The river stretched on beyond the morbidity, blackish navy and glistening, its banks sloping upwards to where last night 1,000 students had caroused in bars. Martin jogged down the steep path which led to the river and flashed her card at the constable on the cordon. "I'll take you to Dr. Walsh, ma'am," he said, turning away from her. "Don't bother. I'll find him. You'd better stay here and watch for marauders." "They'll all be sleeping off their hangovers this early in the day," the constable sniffed. Martin carried on past him and headed to the tent, briefly acknowledging the various soccos who stood around, waiting for the call to start the minutiae of their investigation. As she pulled on her protective shoe covers and plastic gloves, she noticed the outline of what must be a boathouse further upriver, bunting flapping forlornly from its roof, detritus of some sort scattered in front of it over the dewy grass. Martin bent to open up the tent flap before peering inside. "D.I. Martin?" The man who spoke was crouched over the shape of a girl.
"Sample complete." Ready to continue?